Big Ten might be wide open this year. A lot of questions. Ohio State and Oregon replacing a lot of pieces. Penn State is not. But you lose an Abdul Carter and a Tyler Warren, maybe the heart and soul of your offense and defense, and you've got questions. Yet, Sports Illustrated predicts that trio, Ohio State, Oregon, and Penn State, to all have 10.5 wins. That's the over-under. Then there's another tier of Indiana, Michigan at 8.5. I actually kind of like Indiana. Not to win it, but they're better than that. Danny, Penn State bringing back a lot of pieces, and anytime you're bringing back a proven quarterback, and we can debate his potency, but anytime you're bringing back a quarterback that the NFL is circling as a potential first or second round type guy, the expectation should be pretty high.
Look, I am not a Drew Aller fan, as we were talking about, like NFL quarterbacks. I do not buy it in any way, shape, matter, or form. If you want to, fine. He is not my guy. That's my piece on him. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But he's a good college quarterback, and there's only so many of those in the country that have, like, we are finally entering the post-COVID era. So no longer do we have guys who have 5 and 6 years worth of experience coming onto college rosters. So when you bring back a good, competent college quarterback with experience in high leverage games, now we can talk about Drew Aller smoking some high leverage games. He's done that plenty of times, the inopportune interceptions that he is prone to throw, but this is not going to be new territory for him. Whoever is starting at quarterback for Ohio State, if it's saying, fine. If it's Dante Moore at Oregon, fine. They haven't seen it. They haven't had those opportunities. Whoever comes out, if it's Jordan Mailata at USC, he's got a year of mildly leveraged games.
Don't try to sneak USC.
No, I'm talking about,
don't try to sneak USC.
Like, if you're talking about the quarterbacks that you're talking about coming out,
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Well, at Michigan, it's going to be Bryce Underwood. He hasn't seen a damn thing.
The first true freshman ever to make the cover of EA College Football.
There you go. We'll get that here in a little bit.
Yep,
and Indiana, they're going to replace Rourke, who's a guy that the coach is given so much leeway and rope to. Like, when you look at that whole conference, the top end talent, it's there in air quotes, but it's all unproven. And then you look at Penn State and you look at who they're bringing back. Yes, they lost Tyler Warren, who you can argue was the best tight end in college football last year. Whether it's him or Loveland, like, fine, I don't care. Like, but you're talking.
Harold Fannin Jr. was unbelievable at Bowling Green.
Sure,
but that's the debate.
Yeah, then you're talking about, like, which levels they're playing at and who they're playing.
No doubt.
But you take a look at, like, what they lost, and it's like they're bringing back a ton of talent. If you look at the very far too early mocks, Penn State has 5 guys in the top 50. You're talking about 5 in the top 45. So that's 5 guys in the first day and a half. That's Ohio State. That's Georgia. That's Alabama. That's a if you're projecting that forward, when you have that much blue chip talent, that's going to put you at the front of the list. Now, can James Franklin finally deliver?
It's also at the right places, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you can have 5 guys in the top 45, and if they're an off-ball linebacker, which can help, and a safety, that's different. They've got an edge rusher, a pure defensive tackle, their quarterback. Both of their running backs are round 1 or round 2. One of those guys was not in your top 45 or in that top 45, Katron Allen. He's their number 2 running back behind Nicholas Singleton. They're both probably day 2 or better picks. You bring in wide receivers because if you look at it, that was what the problem was for Penn State. They had Tyler Warren and Check's notes, nothing else. But if you're drawing a roadmap to Penn State being the best team in the Big Ten, I think it starts with, as you mentioned, really good talent, front-end talent, and then go put on the Big Ten title game and watch Drew Aller with just Tyler Warren and some running backs and the way he dissected Oregon's defense. That's a good defense. You don't have to think it's phenomenal. You can think their secondary was suspect because at the end of the year it was. But Drew Aller has the tools to put it together, and we've seen him do it in big spots. And when you look at Oregon and Ohio State, they've lost so much. And I think Oregon and Ohio State, as college football factories, we have a tendency to think retool, not rebuild. We're going to plug in this guy, and he's going to immediately hit the ground running.
Yeah.
At some point, your luck, it doesn't matter who you are, your luck runs out. You are not going to keep hitting, 1, if you're Oregon, 2 of the most experienced quarterbacks in the history of the NCAA, and then pivot to Dante Moore, and he just immediately does what those 2 do. There's going to be peaks and valleys, even if he's physically more talented. When he's down 3 at Penn, or against Penn State with 2 minutes left,
Mhm.
that will be the most pressure he's ever faced in his life in college football.
And you don't have
And you don't know how he's going to react.
yeah, you don't
And to
have Bo
me-
Nix and Dylan Gabriel, like who you mentioned, have endless amounts of game experience to fall back on. You can talk about the Bo Nix moments where he failed early in his career in college, that he knew what that was.
Oh, you can go back and watch some of the Auburn stuff and you'd say, this kid doesn't have it.
Mhm.
And that's the hope with Drew Aller, right? Because Bo Nix, when he was at Auburn, everybody went, well, Auburn's still a machine. All their replacement receivers that they replaced, those draft picks and the running backs, they're all great, except they weren't. It was a cycle of misses, and he didn't have that talent around him that everyone just assumed that he had. These are all future first and second round picks. Well, they were all busts. And they all went, well, Bo Nix can't get it done. Well, it turned out it was actually Bo Nix supporting cast. I think if you're Penn State, you go, we brought in through the transfer portal much better receivers.
Mhm.
We bring back 2 really good running backs. Losing Olu Fashanu a while back,
Mhm.
that hurts, but now we've had the time to rebuild. We've got a good
And Penn
old
State's
line.
trenches have always been good.
They're going to be fine.
Yeah.
They're good in the front 7. They've got a shutdown corner who might be a first-round pick, who's projected to be a first-round pick. All the pieces are there. The one thing that's always held Penn State back, in my mind, is that Penn State every year, other than that Rose Bowl year where
They
they beat
stubbed their toe.
the Ducks with Kajana Carter,
Mhm.
they feel like the also ran. Like,
Mhm.
God, that Penn State team was loaded. They were easily a top 3 team in the nation, but they were third.
They stubbed their toe somewhere along. Honestly, it's been very similar to Oregon in that when the light gets on the brightest, that's when they stub their toe. Now, Oregon's done a much better job over the last 5 years of clearing a lot of those hurdles, but they still have
No,
to
it's the-
exercise that one more demon.
It's the same debate. From an Ohio State standpoint, they retool, they reload, and they're phenomenal.
Mhm.
But we've seen teams get the 5-star quarterback, put him in, and if he's not a stud from day one, he's supposed to be the straw that stirs the drink.
Mhm.
That drink don't taste mixed.
It's real milky.
It does not taste right. And Oregon might face the same thing. The added bonus that Ohio State has that frankly Oregon doesn't have right now. They have Jeremiah Smith, who might be the best receiver, the best true sophomore receiver in the history of college football. He's that good. He is that special. If he'd have come out this year in this year's draft just as a 17-year-old kid, by the way, he went to school a year, Ryan Williams went to school a year early, but Jeremiah Smith's 18 years old doing what he did, he probably would have been a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
They have that benefit. Oregon has Kenyon Sadiq, who I think will end up being a day 1 or day 2 pick. I think he's that special. He'll go in the first 3 rounds. He's better than Terrence Ferguson as an athlete. He's unbelievable. Outside of that, who's their 1A, 1B, 1C receiver, perimeter guys?
And that's where you
We
hope,
don't know.
That's where you hope a DeCorian Moore ends up being that dude. But as we were talking about in the break, what did Williams put up this year?
About 900 yards and 8 touchdowns.
Which is great for a
An
freshman.
insane
My
true freshman
God!
year.
But you're not gonna ask DeCorian Moore to go out there and beat Justin Blackman.
Right.
That's just not gonna happen.
We've kind of touched on this topic a little bit throughout the day, that the NIL has forced guys to come back.
Mhm.
Age is going to force the 2 college football EA Sports cover athletes
Mhm.
to come back because they won't be eligible for the draft. And they're not alone. This class of 2027 in the NFL is going to be amazing.